Greetings. Welcome back to my channel. The last video that I released was a how-to video on how to make a 100 amp battery box. And today I'm going to be doing a review of a couple of inverters that I use in conjunction with this battery box. So I'll be going through that. And so I was hoping that maybe you might be interested in what the other accessories that I'm using with the battery boxes. So anyway, this is Ham Radio GMRS Test and Review. My name is Dave. And the motto for my channel is one test is worth 1,000 expert opinions. And I'll be right back. If you're going to buy inverters, especially off of Amazon, you're going to find there's two basic classes of inverters. There's your standard inverter, and then there's a pure sine wave inverter. Now, I always buy nothing but the pure sine wave inverters, and there's a reason for that. So for things that are not electronic in nature, like motors, light bulbs, things like that, a regular inverter is just fine. However, if you're going to be using chargers for like iPads and for your phone, if you're going to be powering electronics like maybe a hotspot or a node, or again, powering maybe your laptop, the power that's supplied by a regular inverter is a little rough. In other words, the voltage can vary quite a bit. It can put sound, like a 60 cycle hum or other things into the line, and that can interfere, especially if you're going to be using something with audio, which of course your computer just might have. And so you don't really want that. It can damage electronics. So a pure sine wave inverter will have a much smoother and a much nicer power source, a power supply that it provides to any thing that you plug into it. So it won't damage your phones, your laptops, your iPads, whatever, your nodes, hotspots. I use all those things. So I always buy nothing but pure sine wave inverters, and I suggest highly that you guys do too. And like I said, unless you're just using tools or power tools or things like that, or light bulbs, then you don't really need a pure sine wave inverter. All right. So when we come back, I'll be showing you how I get this set up and how it works. All right. Be right back. If you've gotten this far into the video, please consider subscribing to my channel and clicking on the bell icon so you're notified every time I release a new video. I would really appreciate it. Thank you. Now here is the Bestek 500 watt inverter that I bought. Now, so again, it's a pure sine wave inverter. I bought it in the blue color, and you have a choice of a few colors. So I bought it in the blue. It looked kind of nice, so I bought it like that. Once again, on the front, you have two AC outlets, two USB-A charging ports, your on-off switch, and your on-off light right here. And on the back, it's a little bit different than the 300 watt. Back here, we have two fuses, both 40 amp, because this pulls 40 amps out of the battery and also provides up to 40 amps of power to your devices that you're running. So each one is for input, one is for output. It also has a little screw right here for ground if you want to run it in a situation where you need to have a ground run to it. But one thing you'll really notice is back here, I have these two terminals and these wires that are connected to it. So let me show you what that's all about. Here's the back. These are screw terminals, the red one and the black one. And it comes with some accessories, and I'll just show you a couple of them. These accessories are, it comes with a cable, of course, with the ring lugs to put onto the screw terminals here on the back, both red and black, with like big clips, so you can connect these directly to the battery. If you're going to be running high wattage devices that are going to pull close to full power, you want to connect this directly to the battery. The other accessory that it comes with is a cigarette lighter plug with the ring terminals on the back. Now they say in the instructions only use this up to 10 amps maybe up to 15 depending upon your vehicle. If you're going to be using or pulling anything more than that, then you need to use the big clips that clip directly to the battery. However, I have standardized on power poles. So I made this nice cable with power poles on one end and the ring terminals on the other. And this is what I use because this hooks directly into my battery boxes. It connects into my 10 amp battery boxes, my 30 amp, and my 100 amp battery boxes. Works really, really well. And this has big enough wire that I can run a full 40 amp load or 500 watt load. And these wires can handle that load. And so, of course, my big 100 amp battery boxes can handle that as well. All right, so these are some of the accessories that I use. You may want to do something different. You may want to use something else. But I do like these Bestek inverters. Like I said, they're very, very quiet when you turn them on. Sometimes the fans don't come on right away, but when they get warm, of course, the fans do come on. And they're very quiet. That's the one thing I was very upset about when I bought a regular inverter from another company, and the fan was loud. I mean, it was annoying. Let's put it that way. All right. Normally, I would be plugging this inverter into one of my battery boxes. However, today, I don't know if I told you, but I had surgery on my hand yesterday, and it's all bandaged up, and it's a lot easier just to use my power supply in lieu of a battery box. And the nice thing about my power supply is that right now, as you can see, it has an amp meter here at the very bottom. And so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to do some close-ups on the amp meter there. And you'll be able to see when I first turn on the inverter how much it pulls without a load. And then I'm going to put a load on the inverter, and then you can see how much it actually pulls when I put a load on it as well. So I hope you find that interesting, and I will be right back. Here's my power supply, and as you can see, I've got the power poles from the inverter plugged right into it, and I'm just going to turn it on with no load, and you will now see that it pulls about a half an amp, 0.5 to 0.6 amps without a load at all. All right, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in a device for charging. So now I have a USB-A to USB-C cable plugged into the USB-A charging port on the inverter, and now I'm going to plug it into my iPad, and you'll see that immediately it goes up to 1.0, 1.1 amps, all right? So for charging, you can see it pulls about a half an amp through the charging port. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in a fluorescent light bulb that I have in a lamp. And I'm going to turn that on right now. And now you see that it pulls about 1.3, 1.4, and it goes up to 2.5 amps occasionally. But that's everything. Now I'm charging an iPad, I'm running the inverter, and I'm running a light bulb. So as you can see, it pulls about an amp and a half or so on average. So that's what you can kind of expect when you are running this from a battery box. Now, an amp and a half times 12.8 volts, let's say it's 2 amps times 12.8 volts, and then that means that you'll be running a little bit over 25 watts. And if you have a big 100 amp or 1280 watt hour battery, then you divide the 1280 watt hours by 25 watts, and whatever that comes out to, about 50 hours or so approximately, that's how long you could run these devices for all the way through until the battery dies. So that gives you an idea of how the inverters work. The fact that they do pull a little bit of power even when there's no load on them. All right, and when I come back, I'll show you the 500 watt inverter that I also have. Be right back. All right, I have the 500 watt Bestek pure sine wave inverter connected up to my power supply. All right, you can see it's running at 0 amps at the moment. Now, when I first turn on the 500 watt inverter, it runs at about the same, 0.5, 0.6 amps with no load on it whatsoever. So let us hook up my charging. I'll plug in into one of the charging ports, my USB-A, USB-C, and now I will plug in my iPad for charging, just like I did before. And as you can see, we are using 1.0, 1.1 amps to charge the iPad. And then again, I will plug in my light bulb. And once again, we are using 1.4, 1.5 amps average to power the light bulb and to charge the iPad. And it jumps up, but I think the average is going to be about 1.5, 1.6. And now we could call it 2.0 amps if you want to just round it off. But as you can see, this is how things work in the inverter world. But, you know, I can power all sorts of things. 500 watt is quite a bit. It's like powering a 500 watt light bulb, which is absolutely huge, of course. With the 300 watt, you can power 5 60 watt light bulbs. You can power a small refrigerator. You can power all sorts of things with it. I use it to power my sofa. My sofa has got the footrests that come out, and they're powered by a motor, but it also has chargers in it too, so I can charge things while sitting at my sofa, and it makes it very convenient for me to have that. I can also power up my dish network box. I can power up my TV. I can power all sorts of things. I can power my Wi-Fi router if I want to. Usually what I do is I power up my phone as a hotspot, and then I run my iPad from the charger, and I watch TV or I watch movies with it through using the hotspot on the phone. So you don't need an inverter for that. Usually my battery boxes can provide all that without the inverter. But these are things that you can do with the inverter, and I can also run with the 500 watt inverter, I can run a combination of CPAP machine and lights, my TV inside my bedroom, along with the little dish box as well. A 500 watt inverter does quite a bit. So it very, very convenient and very nice when the power is out to still be able to have full power. All right. And when I come back, I'll give you my feelings about these Bestek inverters. All right, so this is my review of Bestek 300 and 500 watt inverters and how I use them in my own shack and everything else that I use here around the house, especially in a power outage situation. All right, if you if you like my content, please consider subscribing to my channel and clicking on the bell icon. Again, my name is Dave. I'm with Ham Radio GMRS Test and Review, saying 73.